All right, lesson 12, joint doctrine. Introduction. As a petroleum officer joins with the environment, the involved with the understanding of the doctrine and role of the mission of each flavor of the playing, proceed with the petroleum so plan with the joint operation. In this life, the rule will share with the instructions, serve with the share with the guide with the staff off with the bulk petroleum manage with the playing with the operating bulk fuel system with the joint environmental concept of the doctrine and the is and president and enable the plan with the design for responsive for the petroleum supply system that will meet the need of the individual ship with the theater mission as well. For the organization with July 1st of 1953, the DLA assumed the centralized management of both petroleum with the DOD, the divisional operation DSC with the design of the IMM, the U.S. military and bulk petroleum, the CINC with the establishment of the joint petroleum office, the discharge service staff of the petroleum logistics responsible within the theater. Each military service staff to maintain a petroleum office to manage bulk petroleum with the service unless lesson with the petroleum agency throughout the DOD. Each organization will discuss separately. In note figure 12.1, the DOD organization involved the Joint Petroleum Operation Plan, the DOD Joint Staff, Defense of Energy Support Center, Unified Commands, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, the Defense of Energy, sort of the Defense of Energy Reason, Unified Commands, Air Force, Navy, Air Force, MA Air Force. Joint Staff, the Director of Logistics of the J4 with the Joint Staff of the Primary Agent, the Chairman of the Joint Chief of the Staff of the Conservative, all the bulk petroleum matter will originate within and refer to Joint Staff. The Joint Staff, the responsibility of the Joint Staff of the J4 act as the focal point of the petroleum bulk petroleum doctrine. Joint Staff developed the defined wartime bulk petroleum source, the guidance of the DOD, the J4 to prescribe the perceived the reporting bulk petroleum product data. Defensive Energy Supply Center. The Defensive Energy Supply Center, complete with the DLA, with the DOD, MM for the bulk petroleum product. The Defensive Energy Supply Center, responsible for the procurement of the bulk petroleum product with the relating services of the product that were delivered and support services provided, timely, efficient support with the Defensive Energy Supply Center in the Defensive Energy regions. These regions are close contact consideration of the Defensive Energy regions located within CONOS, PICOM, UCOM, and Defensive Fuel Region of the Mideast, the CONOS, Defensive Energy Region of order product with the firearm contact distributor with the product with the service perform the contract administration over the Defensive Energy Region provided the product ordering contract administrator with the mentioned general function of the Defensive Energy Supply Center of the Defensive Energy Regions over the given Department of Defense 414025M Volume 1 Chapter 2. The Defensive Energy Supply Center responsible for the key function of the Defensive Energy Supply Center impact with the Joint Petroleum Doctrine the operations followed as the IMM bulk petroleum product established, maintain stock with the wholesale defense fuel supply point, coordinate with the Marine Sea Lift Command with the required tanker transportation movement of the petroleum products, require contingency situation, mastery, petroleum product storage, and services to support military requirements. 5. Develop and publish the IMP, publish the petroleum tanker delivery schedule for the slate with the required negotiate with the foreign government with the international organization bulk petroleum product facility related to services determined by the CINC, the services of the component to be verified with the interest of the Department of Defense. Unified Command, CINC. Unified Command staff planning with the management of the bulk petroleum performed the J4 Joint Petroleum Office. The Joint Petroleum Office normally staffed by the personnel each for the military service that had the mission of in the theater. Joint Petroleum Officer and coordinate with the theater bulk petroleum operation provided the interface with the Defensive Energy and Supply Center with the service of the theater bulk petroleum managed the Army, the military, TAMMC with the Air Force, the Energy, the Management Division, U.S. Air Force component staff of the Navy, the Fleet Command with the Petroleum Logistics Office, the Marine Corps, the Marine Corps staff, the G4, service theater block petroleum manager that provide the service block with the petroleum requirement of the Joint Petroleum Officer consolidates the requirements for all services scheduled deliveries for all the theater Joint Petroleum Officer Office divided with the theater of the command staff of the bulk with the petroleum logistics plan with the policy meeting with the required with the Joint Petroleum Office divided with the Unified Commands allocation of the bulk petroleum product with the bulk petroleum management entirely of the ultimate response with the command with the Unified Command with the Joint Petroleum Office. The daily management is done by the Joint Petroleum Office and coordinated with the service of the Unified Command with established the SAOP with the sub-area Petroleum Office, sub-Unified Command with the level to provide in-country regional staff management functions. The Joint Petroleum Office consolidated delivery requirements of the components theater forward with the Defensive Energy Supply Center with the movement of delivery requirements of the mission collected by the Petroleum State. The Joint Petroleum Office coordinated with the quality surveillance program within the theater. The Unified Command with the responsibility of planning, manage, coordinate the receipt of the store of the distribution bulk petroleum product. The Joint Staff with the Joint Petroleum Office sub-area with the Petroleum Office to perform the required mission to provide petroleum logistic plan with the policy the guidance for the component commanders to coordinate resupply requirements for the survival services components for the Unified Command, release and reallocate PWRMS, coordinate with the Quality Surveillance Program, the Unified Command, if they're relocated, required to allocate petroleum stock facilities to the area of the operations, submit requirements to host nation, the performance host nation petroleum support. Identify, coordinate with the joint mission, essential and key tasks required with the component bulk petroleum unit of the regional op lands contingency plan. Or the Army, the U.S. Army Staff of the Management, Petroleum Plan, Operations for the Army Energy Office of the Office of the Staff of Logistics, Daily Operations Supply with the Bulk Fuel Army is managed by the U.S. APC. The principal of the U.S. Army Petroleum Command include the determination, consolidation, Army fuel requirements, submitting the procurement of the Defensive Energy Supply Center, the maintaining the liaison of the Department of Defensive Energy Supply Center with the military, serve the operational policy matters affecting the bulk petroleum operation, Army Theater of the TAMC, Adam Manager of the bulk fuel, and in accordance with the DoD 414025, the Army provided the overland bulk fuel support with the U.S. land base and the service officer of the Army organization responsible for carrying out inland distribution mission of the Petroleum Group. The Petroleum Group is responsible for the unified command with a detailed plan with the support with all the components service to perform tasks of the Petroleum Group available to military and commercial and the host nation assets. The Army is tasked and mission provided that overland with a theater level of bulk fuel with the support of the U.S. land force over the DoD components except for the Navy ocean terminal. The mission include the providing the necessary force, serve with the construct, operate, maintain overland pipeline with support of the wholesale theater of the bulk fuel submission mission, and enable the Army presence for either the dominant or either designated by the Joint Command of Defensive Energy Supply Center by contract combination. Both will be tasked and operate with the bulk fuel distribution system. All right, the Air Force. The staff management responsibility for the U.S. Air Force bulk fuel with the fuel possibly brand with the Chief of the Staff of Logistics Engineering, Air Force Fuel Division, Detachment 29 with the control point with the bulk fuel requirements, inventory management, conducts liaison with the Defense Energy Supply Center with the others for the operational policy matters affecting the bulk operation at Air Force Major Command with the command fuel supplies officer to provide the staff command supervision over the bulk fuel operation. In-flight refueling operations are not considered bulk fuel operations and are responsible for the Air Mobility Command, or AMC. Organization requiring in-flight refueling supporting should coordinate directly with the Air Mobility Command. Navy, Department of the Navy, Staff Management of the Bulk Fuel Navy, the Energy Office, the Department of Chief of the Navy, the Operational Logistics Navy, the Petroleum Office for the Navy PET, the control point of the bulk fuel requirements of inventory management, the Navy Petroleum Office, duty of the mandate with the liaison of the Defense Energy Supply Center, the other serve the operational policy matter of the effect of the bulk fuel operation, the other at Navy Major Command level, the fleet with the petroleum staff operators to provide the staff management of the bulk fuel meter for the joint operation of the Navy to support the ship to shore bulk fuel mission of the Navy, responsible for getting the bulk fuel and breach a higher water marking fuel received by the Army Marine Corps of the bulk fuel units. The Navy shore with the fuel expenditure mission is filled with the entire Navy Reserve fuel units. The units are managed by the Navy Petroleum Office at the expenditure of the support force. Both the 22 man units are capable of the handling multiple missions, including bulk and retail bag farm operations, truck aviation refuelings, OPDS, augmentation fixed fuel facilities. There are also 10 units in the existing 1994 equally distributed on both coast. All right, your Marine Corps. Head Corps of the Marine Corps. Policy responsible for the bulk fuel residual material policy section LPP2. The Deputy of the Chief of Staff of Installation and Logistics, the Navy Petroleum Office of the Marine Corps Service Control Point for bulk fuel. The Major Command with the Marine Component Commander of the MEF. Assistant Chief of the Command Staff of the G4, responsible for bulk fuel management, planning, operation policy. Marine Component Commander of the MEF G4, maintains liaison and unified command of the Joint Petroleum Office, the Navy, the Petroleum Office, and other military service of the matters concerning the bulk fuel operation policy. All right, military services responsibility. Following actions apply with the services in the theater to maintain the SCP for the bulk petroleum, provide the operation retail petroleum facility under of the ownership of the community, the bulk petroleum requirements submit to the Defensive Energy Supply Center of the unified standard bulk petroleum operating procedure for the supply organization required feasible, ensure total interoperability among the all petroleum product containers and handling equipment. Comply with the DoD Manual 4140-25 and the Military Handbook 200, develop and execute the quality surveillance program and selfless petroleum testing capabilities to support service requirements. IAWD Directive 4140-23, 42-27, planning program budget ready for the number of the bulk petroleum product that must be stocked with the military logistics system, promote and implement the single fuel with the battlefield concept of the organized, trained, and engine equipped fuel support services. Individual service responsible for the Army to develop and maintain equipment to support with the overland distribution bulk petroleum and all service the Navy to develop the theater for the delivery of bulk petroleum and high water mark. All service all maintain with the capability to provide bulk petroleum support. The service the unit in support of the joint operation provide the theater manage the designated predominant service with any specific general support requirements. Hey, concepts of operation. Bulk fuel support is a joint venture while the bulk fuel management is the joint operation ultimately responsible for the commander, joined with the commander. Each server is responsible for support with its force with any other mission with the assignment with the joint commander. The actual perceived to provide with the bulk petroleum support with that server, depending on the condition of the area of the operation. Developed theater nature, mature of the developed theater will usually host a nation assessed available to such as the pipeline storage facility, the railways that help the support the bulk petroleum distribution system, the airbase tactical airfield, serve the bed down with sites will be supported with the pipeline whenever the tactical feasible. The pipeline and the host line systems will extend so far as possible, as far forward as possible. Undeveloped theater is undeveloped theater host nation. The commercial bulk fuel facilities normally will not be available. Tactical assistance will have to be used. The bulk fuel supply is in the undeveloped theater. May include limited tanker mooring systems, floating hose lines, submarine pipelines, inline tanker forms, hose lines, collapsible tanks. Alright, your joint petroleum operations are not new. The bulk petroleum logistics have the joint operation for over the 2 decades. The ore concept depends on whether the operating developed the undeveloped theater. Regardless of the type of the unified commands, the predominant fuel responsibility with the theater, while each of the services is responsible for the direct fuel with the support with the force of the coordinate with the fuel with the unified command of the joint petroleum office, the defensive energy supply system with doing the joint operation for the main purpose of the coordinate the sufficient ensure inefficiency and avoid the duplication theater-wide program petroleum management ultimately responsibility with the unified command through the joint petroleum office, the day-to-day management of petroleum support with the done by the joint petroleum office, the coordinate with the defensive energy supply system of the allied host nation, the units for the recommendation of viability services of the unified command with the final determinant with the appropriate way of the petroleum mission, include with the proper mixing, serve with the tactical, the defensive energy supply center contract support with a host nation agreement. The following concept with the modified with the command with the unique mission that each service is responsible for providing with retail bulk petroleum support. Its force with the retail petroleum is held with the primarily the direct support on the end user, for example, the aircraft, the vehicles, while overseen with the army is normally charged by the mission to provide the overland petroleum transportation support over all U.S. land-based forces and air with the way army is present with in the dominant use of the defensive energy supply system with the combination of both either will appropriate the proper petroleum distribution system. The wholesale general support of the bulk petroleum distribution system is push-pull, resupply the customer request the fuel with the direct support organization at the same time scheduling movement of the product forward in general support system based on a combination of storage with the space available to anticipated storage base projected customer demand. The basic concept to keep the storage tank with the full at all time. The bulk reduction is done also closer to the customer practicable to reduce the transportation requirements when demanding to receive the availability of petroleum group of the commander recommended and an allocation system based priority to support the theater of the operation allocation system must be approved by the unified command. The petroleum doctrine recognizes the difference between developed and undeveloped theaters. Concept of operation developed theater. Current director of the petroleum support the recognize the difference requirement that impose the both developed and undeveloped theater. The developed theater will normally hope that the nations ask if they augment with the military bulk petroleum if the capabilities allied with the support they interface with the bulk petroleum facilities stock their theater and unique joint petroleum office will integrate with the allied capability of the operation plans will be the allied host nation support augmentation U.S. capability with the following capabilities are normally available to develop theater. Our tanker loading, unloading facilities, base terminal, intermediate terminals, head terminals, pipelines, pipes, pumping stations, dispensing theaters, facilities. A theater of geographical area with a unified command with contact with military application developed there with the combat command. Communication combat, again, combat zone communication combat is required with the theater behind the combat zone with the contains the line of communication stable the force supply with the air agencies required with the immediate support of the main field service force of the combat zone of the air is required with the combat force of the contact operation. The bulk petroleum distribution system developed in the theater include with the discharge facilities waste include with the tanker mooring piers dock sea terminals inland tank farms and other petroleum facilities often include pump station and pipeline. See figure 12-2. Alright, 10. Concept of the operation undeveloped theater. And the providing bulk of the petroleum and the support of the undeveloped theater present with many of the problems not faced to develop. The host nation assets may be limited and not available. The entire system stock have to be brought and installed with the bulk petroleum system that must be developed. The object of assuming the practical the initial petroleum facilities must be expanded as soon as possible. Floating storage asset that may be the relief of the military tactical ship the store of the petroleum storage the distribution and equipment required to support the theater. As all hose lines will be used to move the fuel for the ocean terminal forward support base for the airfield for the hose line with the extent of the forward the bed pores possible the corpse or air the system will be the expend with the required to provide support with the theater concept of the operation petroleum system. Undeveloped theater should be provided if possible. Enough storage capacity on load within 24 hours of the complete cargo with the largest tank of the is scheduled enough to reserve the operating capacity to receive the issue of the petroleum. At the same time, enough storage capacity to allow the fuel received settle at least 24 hours before it's pumped through the system. Laboratory facilities quality surveillance operations. Alright, 11. Concepts, operations, supplies levels. The nature, majority portion of the theater level over the combat, communication of the unified command of prescribe the supply level to determine the data, supplies. So for the components, prescribe the level of the force of the combat, communication of the combat zone with the supply level to take an amount with the account with the represent requirements also for the theater. Concept, operation, supply level to develop theater for the planning purpose of the minimum of the 30-day theater level should be up to the bulk patrolman develop theater. Actual practical level may be greater than 30 days depending on the average available to take into other factors. B. The concept of the operation supply level to undeveloped theater plan and the purpose of the only minimum of 15-day supply level that should be set up in theater. The major portion of the theater level to maintain in the CSA. The given supply levels must be taken into account the requirements of all service components. Alright, concept, operation other than war, OTW. The special consideration during operation other than war, minimize logistic footprint, increase the reliance in our country, civilian and host nation support, establish contract earlier in the fuel supply, the tactical fuel equipment support package for the requirement mission, ensure the service capability. Compatibility. Joint planning for the bulk support with the complex, the challenging, take the time and the space of the deterrence, distance terrain with a reference of the operational environment of all personnel, planning factor of the depth. We consider this expansion of the elements, the bulk fuel planning, the requirements, the short procurement, the transportation stage, and the state distribution equipment. The support of TC with the Joint Command with the responsibility for the overall planning with the bulk fuel, the logistic support with the Unified Joint Command with the base for the all-supported bulk fuel support plan with the plan, establish the concept of for the assigning missions and allocate the available resources. Operation plans to move to the joint staff include the petroleum opinion for the logistic index for the formatted prescribed in the joint pub 502 the joint pub JLP's volume 2 with the appendix A with the component developed in bulk fuel support concept based on tactical plan. One of the concept approved with the Joint Command with the the component that they could provide the implementation of bulk fuel support during the operation joint staff, the bulk for the fuel plans for the basic plan with the required to support the mission planning for the operation, the Joint Unified Command that responsible for the overall planning, petroleum, and logistics support within the theater, the operation plan with the command submitted with the Joint Unified Command, include with the petroleum and planning for the logistic and of the JOP's format. The Unified Command, the JSCP, with the guy with the preparing op plan with the logistics support plan, the service component with the diverse develop the petroleum support with the concept of the tactical plan and joint doctrine. Planning the system, serve the component with the primary and the implementation program, petroleum support plan. The petroleum support plan flexible will be revised in situation required. Theater petroleum planning must be coordinated with all component of theater. Inland petroleum distribution is prepared with the Army Petroleum Group or the designated dominant server and adding for the theater logistics support plan. The level of planning of the IPDP base support plan bulk fuel plans have the two basic categories. Logistic planning involved with determining specific fuel requirements for the distribution plan based on factor of the fuel consumption, equipment emission, terrain, and climate. The logistics plan started well advanced for actual operation. Primary purpose of the type of the planning is to ensure the fuel product, the equipment, the bulk fuel operating units for the host nation commercial support will be available when needed. B. Operational planning. Operational planning includes planning for each of the required capacity of the bulk fuel supply system and maintaining the during the operation. Operational planning has to be flexible, allowable to change the tactical developments, loss of the fuel stock, equipment, other factors they be given the step decision of operating as planned with the plan consideration of the mission fourth to be supported. The capability installation of the units provide with the required support. The speed of the pipelines hose line is being installed with the made of the operation. The petroleum supplies planning fall within two basic categories: proper mix of the petroleum and shipping or requirements, the tactical system, the host nation support distribution method to be used. Planning elements to be considered time phase, the requirements, location, procurement, storage, distribution points, required transportation mode, equipment to be used, rail, truck, barge, pipeline, organization unit used to be operated, and the system joint task force. The unified joint commands or unified commands are consigned with the geographical area mentioned earlier. However, the specified unified commands will enable the joint task force. Normally, the joint task force, the logistics staff of the Office of Petroleum, rely on the unified command and joint petroleum office, the wholesale bulk petroleum joint task force. Petroleum staff officers responsible for the commanding of the POL planning mission and execution manner for the service of the components, coordinated with the supply common bulk petroleum package of the POL joint task force, components of the IAWD 414025M, coordinated with the components of the distributing requirement of the bulk petroleum must be obtained with the form from in-country the commercial service to supply with these requirements through the Unified Command Joint Petroleum Office of the Defense Energy Region Procurement Office, recommending the necessary allocation appointment with the bulk petroleum product facility of the COM Joint Task Force, coordinate the quality service surveillance procurement programs. The Joint Task Force Operation Warrant exercise management with the wholesale petroleum products, the Joint Task Force area for the operation, the Joint Task Force J4, coordinate with the Joint Petroleum Offices, may set with the standard sub-area petroleum office, staffing augmented sub-area petroleum office will come and serve the components. All right, lesson 12, lesson 13, military construction projects.